Healing crystals, skincare routines, knitting a sweater, fitting in jeans. With Katie and Sarah, no need to worry, you're on a lady journey.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to your
Hi,
Lady Journey
welcome.
bonus. Oh, Saturday.
You guys made it. You know what? I want to say, I think I forgot it's Saturday.
Oh,
And nobody
whoopsie.
said anything.
Whoopsie.
There was no outcry.
I know.
There's no, I want my money back.
I was talking to one of the journeyers recently. I was like, well, as you know, in the bonus, they were like, what? And I was like, the bonus where we address that. Oh, we love you
So
guys.
I apologize. So I did one Saturday and then I released one or a Monday.
That's sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. We apologize. That's all we need to do.
Yeah.
Some people don't
It's
even
just
do
3
bonus.
people. Yeah. I don't think people are.
Are you
when I look at
blaming
the
anything
views,
on pregnancy brain yet?
I just think it's just the way I naturally
No,
am.
but you have like 8 months to just fucking. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Just
yeah,
blame-
that's-
Oh, yeah.
It was your pregnancy brain.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's
why.
taken
Yeah.
And so
Oh my
if you
God.
take
Right?
issue with it, you are a murderer.
But like honestly, like from like, and then like after you have the pregnancy, like from
Baby
my mom,
brain,
yeah,
yeah.
from
Baby
my mom having
brain.
5 kids and all my friends having kids during the pandemic. There's so many things you can just blame.
Oh, I
on
look
being-
forward to canceling.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, get out of jail free card. I've already used your
canceled-
baby to cancel
Oh, I
stuff
love
for
that.
myself. I'm like, I can't do it. Sarah's pregnant.
I canceled during the
And I'm
smoke.
raising this baby.
Yeah.
I canceled spots during the smoke.
Oh well, that's
yeah,
good
no,
though. 'cause
that's-
Yeah.
The
that
smoke
makes
I saw that
I had a
I
headache.
canceled too.
Did
I
you
had a
really?
headache too. I had a
I
headache
that
too.
first day I got
Yeah.
a headache because I just didn't really fully understand how bad it was.
I didn't know what it was. I actually did a podcast, came home 5 p.m. It hadn't hit yet. And then I went a full day watching streaming service, came back, and then did computer work and editing. So I never really left. So I had no idea what was going
Yeah.
on until
Yeah, that's
it was
what
orange
I
outside.
texted you.
Yeah,
You were
yeah.
like, maybe I shouldn't go for a run. I'm like, no,
No, absolutely
don't
not.
do it.
Your
But
baby
yeah.
smokes a pack of
I
cigarettes.
know. Well, they said 6, and I was like, oh, I used to smoke that more than that all the
Yeah, oh,
time.
you're fine. I stayed in and smoked 5. That was my shit. Science. I love the smoke though. It's like a toxic airborne event. I mean, stay in.
Oh my
I
god.
will say
Oh.
this, like the nice thing about the city is there's so many things that have happened that I was like, oh, this is my community. We
Yeah.
almost died together so many times,
Yes,
guys.
yes.
Oh, it's
Hurricane
beautiful.
Sandy.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
power was out.
Yeah,
Pandemic.
the pandemic.
Oh my
You know, being part of
gosh.
an epicenter is so fun.
It
Oh, I love
is.
it. I love
Well,
it.
we get the center of attention, like what's going on in New York, where like other cities don't get that,
yeah.
don't get
Yeah.
hit on the news. We're
It
like,
also hit
nobody
Philly, and they're
mentioned
like,
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
They're like,
it's
well,
terrible
Philly
there.
always looks like shit.
yeah. They're used to it. They all smoke 6
I know.
cigarettes a day.
I also like that it had a smell of burning leaves, which is a
It was like
smell,
bonfire.
Oh
It
yeah, I
was,
did. It felt.
which is a Bath and Body Works candle.
Yes.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Burning
I'm
leaves.
like, ooh.
Yeah.
I know. I did the same
There's
thing.
a man in your life.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Musky. But I did the same thing. Like, I canceled everything, but then I took an edible. I was like, I'm staying in. And then I was like, but I need Froyo. And so then I just went out into it in the night. And I had a mask, but I didn't want to wear it because I was like, it's kind of like you're just at a bonfire if you're
yeah,
just
for
out
a brief
there.
moment.
Yeah.
And so I was just eating Froyo in the smoke. But people were out. I was like, these people don't
it's
care.
an extra topping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little smoky s'mores. But people were like dining al fresco. I was
Yeah.
like, after about 10 blocks, I turned around because I was starting to get like, I put my mask on, but I was like, I can't imagine just being out like having an Aperol spritz in this
Yeah.
weather right
No.
now. Like, New York, love it. But so on the bonus, I wanted to ask Liz, because one thing I love about you, you're such an inspiration to me. I know I'm saying that so many times, but that is a lady journey, telling someone they're
Yeah,
an inspiration.
over and
Against
over
their
at a
consent.
party.
Yeah. Against their consent. But I love you. Like, you are the ultimate Renaissance woman to me. Like, you are an incredible comic. You're a great writer. And then you're doing all these other business things. You've
You could be a
created the app.
manager.
Yeah.
You could be a really
I
better
am-
than anyone's manager.
I'm a partial
Yeah.
manager to
You
at least
are.
4 comics.
Well, help me.
Yeah.
yeah. There's a lot of
I'm-
yelling at my
well,
friends.
like we've talked about this before. Like managers, you're like, what do you do besides send the itinerary? That's an
Yeah.
email that we could all just get from
Yeah.
ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
why
under-
are we giving you so much money?
Yeah, 10%, and I'm just like, yeah, I could have done that on a plane.
Yeah,
like I don't
easily.
understand.
But you have the app. So like comic, writer, app, book,
You're an entrepreneur.
booking, international tour booker. I mean,
Yeah.
so many things. So
You're
many things. How do
like
you do
Arnold
all this stuff?
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Like, you're a giant. Like, how are you doing all these things?
What time do you wake up?
Yeah.
Is it noon?
Please
say
say noon.
noon.
Should I keep
Please say
doing
noon.
that? Yeah.
Actually, I still haven't woken up. This is
Yeah.
my spirit. I mean, I go to bed really. Believe me, my window of working is probably as small as most comics. I probably get up between like 9:30 and 10. Usually, my cats are the ones that are like,
Okay,
we're
get a
gonna
cat.
murder you.
Gotcha.
Get a cat. They'll get you up before noon. And
Yeah, they're
then-
like threatening to eat your corpse.
yeah, and then because like of shows, I try like I usually go to the gym around 5 a couple of days a week, and then shower, eat, go do shows. So like my work day really is like 10 to 5.
Okay.
But to me, anything that's like a yes or a no, I try to bang that out. So that's right there is just like makes you just feel like you're super efficient. Can you do this gig? Is this I bang that stuff out.
Okay.
But then it's about, for me, I want to do the gigs that I want to do. Is it awesome when somebody wants to pay you $5K to do this thing and and you're like, yeah, the money would be amazing, but it's like, I don't want to be clean. I don't want to fucking talk about, some corporate that like whatever. So it's just like, I want to be able to just take the gigs that I want to take. And in doing that, that means building a fan base. So it's just the people that already like me or are going to discover me. Like I know what my goals are. And because I know what my goals are, my decisions throughout the day are based on those goals. So you look at somebody that's just like, think of young comics. They're just like, I want to get into these clubs. Why aren't these clubs booking me? And it's just like, sure, a club is an avenue to getting more stage time, possibly making some money, not a lot of money, and maybe being seen by the industry, but that's just not really true anymore. But what is your actual goal? Is your goal to be a touring comic? Is your goal to make, albums? Is your goal to get better? What is your current goal and your future goal? And then that's what your decision should be. So when I was younger, I wasn't getting booked at the clubs and I wasn't doing road work and I wasn't getting seen by the industry, but I wanted to be a better comic and I wanted to be considered like this typical real comic. So it was like, where can I get stage time? So I started looking at anybody that was doing bar shows and asking if I'd do their bar show. I put together my own bar show. I wanted to be a writer, so I put together a web series. Like, because I knew what my goals were, all my decisions were based on those goals. So like, you mentioned I have this app and it helps, your fans sign up for your mailing list. That was 100% because I was opening for Hurry Kundabolu, and Hurry had a bigger fan base than me, and the line after his shows, it would be 2 hours long of him like signing stuff and taking pictures and selling stuff, and he had this clipboard, and even though maybe 200 people were in line, 3 people would sign up for his mailing list. Why? These people love him. Why only 3 people? So I remember, and I'm bored. Nobody's here to talk to me. So I signed a pen to this clipboard and I sent it down this line. He got 50 signups. And I was like, oh, okay. So people will sign up. They just don't know. And they're, by the time they get up, they see him. They don't fucking want to sign their name. They want to talk to Hurry. They've been in line for an hour. So then my next thing is I was actually waiting for a bus in the UK. And if you texted this like 5-digit number, it'll text you and tell you when the bus was coming.
Yeah, I just did that.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
It's helpful.
It is. It's super helpful. And so then I was like, okay, these people are waiting in line for an hour. They're already on their phone. What if they could sign up on their phone? So then I started to do research of how I would create. First of all, is there anything like that? Which there wasn't at the time. I started this like 5 years ago. But then it was like, all right, how hard is it to hire a bunch of coders to make this thing for me? So I made it for me and Hurry, and me and Hurry beta tested it for a couple of years, and then I started a website, hired a bunch of coders, and now it's like maybe 20 comics are using it. I'm actually working with another company that might buy it off me, which would be awesome.
Whoa, that's amazing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's still to this day works so well for me, and I made it super cheap so any comic can use it. It's all word of mouth. Any comic that knows about it.
I want to use it. I've wanted to use it for years.
It's called Lizard Mail.
Lizard Mail. I've just never gotten around to it.
Yeah.
But this is the year. This is my year.
But do you understand that the whole conception of that was a pain point for me to get to another goal, which is I knew my mailing list was important. How do I get people to sign up for it? And it was actually a pain, like, Hurry didn't even care, but I was like, Hurry, you're doing this, like, you're so successful and you could be even more successful.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and how do I piggyback off that? And I built half my fan base opening up for Hurry because of that app.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
designed.
great. That's so great.
That's my theory lately of successful people, and you are successful.
You're in that category.
Because I was watching a little bit of the Arnold Schwarzenegger doc, so I will be referencing him a
I-
lot in the next
really am.
segment.
I'm excited. I've been watching the Jared from Subway documentary, so that will be my reference. A lot of foot long Double entendres here.
So you start noticing he was just like bodybuilding. He wanted to get into acting, but then people were like, the key to money is property. And he, like, within minutes of somebody telling him property, he just went out and bought it. And, like, I talked to Joe and I were like, people will tell us amazing advice, and it will take me 6 months to get on that.
Yes.
And then when you do it, you realize, oh, it was just a slight annoyance to get it, just paperwork. And then you're like, I'm a fucking idiot for not doing this sooner and leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you succeed, is that once you think of it, you do it.
Yes.
Well, I the other thing is that let's look at TikTok, for example.
Yeah.
So I remember TikTok came on. I don't want to learn anything. I don't want to fucking be on TikTok. I don't want to be on another thing. But I know enough from all social media that early adoption of something is going to have crazy reward. There are all these huge YouTube stars that aren't good, but they just adopted YouTube 25 years ago when it came out, because that's how long YouTube has been out.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just early adoption. You get rewarded for being a risk taker. You don't even have to know what you're doing. So early adoption is key. Then bare minimum. You don't even have to. I barely even use the app the way it's supposed to be used. It was just, how do I utilize what I'm already doing and make sure that I continue to use. And I was the first person I told was Carmen. I told Carmen Lynch because she was already making these weird videos where she talks to herself, and I was like, this is going to make it more efficient.
This is
and
for
faster.
you. Yeah.
And she blew up on it. I was like, so proud. Like, talk about manager shit. I was like, this is for you. I don't even know how to use it yet, but I know you should use it. So early adoption is first key. Second is figure out how to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Bare minimum, how can you enjoy it? And how can you make it almost like a game and something that is important? What are your goals, and make sure those goals are aligned with it. I don't need to be a TikTok star. I don't need to make funny videos. That's not what I'm doing. How do I take the stand-up I've already made and continue to grow my fan base? That's what I'm using TikTok for. I'm not using it to fucking be an international superstar that like fucking makes weird dance moves. That's not what I'm doing. My goal stays the same, and I utilize each attribute to continue forward on that goal.
That's a great way to cut down on the overwhelm, because I think that's what a lot of comics felt overwhelmed of, like, now I have to learn basically a PowerPoint. Like a version of PowerPoint,
My editing, like my ability to edit is I learned just enough to put clips out. That's where I am in my editing process. But like, if somebody told me to get into real estate, which, yes, is one of the smartest ways to build wealth, right?
Yeah.
You have to have wealth to build wealth. But let's say you have the wealth to buy real estate. I would talk to anybody that already owns stuff. I would do a little bit of research, and I'd figure out how I can do this for myself in the lane that I am in, because I want to have money to make money. So for me, one of the reasons I am literally successful, even though half our peers have had more TV credits, they've done Just for Laughs, they did whatever, they're on Netflix, is because I wanted to be financially stable, and I didn't want to live off the road. I was, as a feature, was losing my mind, and like I was already tired and like scary, falling asleep at the wheel driving, and I was like, this is not maintainable. How do I make money while not being on the road? And so then it was
passive income.
Right. Passive income. Yeah.
So 10 years ago, I was like, I'm going to make an album. Greg Warren was a huge help to me. He basically explained the difference between, now you can't really self-release anymore because of all the lawsuits. But at the time, he was like, you can either go with a record label or you could self-release. I've done both. I'm going to tell you the benefits of both. I'm going to teach you how to self-release if that's what you want to do. So then I asked a couple other people. I decided to self-release. I learned about it. I did all the steps to get it onto Sirius, to figure out how to sell it on CD Baby. That was when I took a PR class and really started to learn about social media, because I wanted to make a viral video, because I wanted to make this be something that people knew about. It's the reason people knew about me is because of one bit from my first album that I self-released at this point 12 years ago.
Is that feminist sexual positions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
But the goal was two goals. People see me as a headliner and see me as like a real comic, because I had insecurities, but I wanted to be seen as a headliner, and I wanted to make passive income. I have literally made so much money from that first album. Between Sirius, and now it's on YouTube and it has 3 million views. People are buying it. People know who I'm continuing to be discovered for a decision I made when I was 26 years old.
Yeah, and then when the more stuff that you make, people go back to all that
100%.
stuff, so it floats up again.
And it's a build, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. So, like, let's say you're a new comic, you put out a video, it goes viral. Now you have 500,000 followers, and da-da-da-da. You have to, like, catch up. You have to continue to build content. But the better thing you can do in some obscurity is build up your stuff, put it out. And then when something goes viral, you have all this backlog that people can discover you from. So the fact that people discovered me 10, 12, 15 years into my career, I already had 3 albums or 3 specials. I already had all this stuff out. So when people discover me today, they've realized I've been doing this for 20 years and I have at least 12 years of content. And then I'm only continuing to make stuff, and then I'm taking risks. And I think that's the biggest thing, both for somebody that's new to be smart about it, but even somebody that's been established. I love helping people because I felt so overlooked and alone and like a failure for so long. Like there's so many things I discovered to empower myself, but I've been able to empower our friends, but even just peers. And I've had a couple of comics be like, hey, I had all this success, but it's dried up and I wasn't doing social media and I feel stupid. And I was like, you can change that around in a matter of months.
It doesn't take long to have it turn around for you.
Well, I think it's tricky because like we're hearing you and you're saying like, I started doing all this stuff 10 years ago, and it's easy to be like beating yourself up because like, oh, I didn't do that 10 years ago, but it's like, it's never too late to get yourself on the right track and make these changes to, grow your business in the right way.
My favorite quote of all time, and I think of it anytime I try something new, is the best time to have planted a tree was 40 years ago. The second best time is now.
Oh my God, I love it.
It's
I
the
love
best,
it.
and it just
it's
kind of
so true.
Because at the end of the day, if like I'm gonna try to write a novel, which is crazy. I did go to school for it, but like, has anybody?
Didn't we all? Dude,
It's one of my fantasies that I know will never come to fruition.
And that's kind of how I felt. Is like, I went to school for writing, barely do it. But as somebody that we all like, if I write like 10 minutes of notes in my phone for a joke, I'm just like, I've worked so hard today.
Yeah.
And then when I wrote my book, I was like, this is horrible. Joe Zimmerman had this tweet like literally like 5 years ago, and I think of it all the time. He's like, for somebody that says they love writing, I sure do hate it so much.
Most writers are like that.
Yeah,
it's a horrific profession.
It really is.
The inner critic is just vicious.
And it's like, I write cat jokes from my perspective, and now I'm trying to write this novel that is like a historical fiction novel. I'm like, who the fuck do I think I am?
I love it. Wait, can you tell us anything about it? Who's the just tell us the main character.
What part of history?
Is it a romance with sex?
It's almost the opposite. It's about an underground abortion clinic in the 60s.
Oh, not sexy.
sexy.
It's kind of almost sexy. You're like, close. It's
got
after
there.
the sex.
There was a moment.
It's the worst part of sex.
Oh my God,
I want to talk about it
can't wait
and
to
make
read
it funny, which is
Yeah.
hilarious in itself. But like, so I wrote a script about it first, and nobody wanted the script because they were like, cool, abortion and a period piece, great, Liz.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
So now I want
actually not getting my period piece.
that is the tagline. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
yes.
But I think for me, again, this is where like rejection is inspiration. I had a production company that was trying. It wasn't getting picked up, so they dropped it. Everything about buying sucks right now. It is what I'm a new writer. All that stuff sucks. But I'm so proud of the world I created with this, and I refuse to let the industry tell me it doesn't have value.
Yes.
So now I'm gonna write a book, even if nobody picks up the book. Self-releasing isn't what it was in the 70s where you're like with a hole puncher and you're gluing shit.
Yeah.
I have a friend I'm reading her book right now. She self-released on Amazon. It's so good, and she's getting all these reviews, and it's not going to be on the New York Times bestseller, but I know thousands of people bought her book and read her book, and she's had articles. I could write something, and even if it's only 100 people that enjoy it, I enjoyed it, and a bunch of people got to see it.
Yeah, and the end is the means, right? It's not a means to an end. It's like, this is the process. This is what it is to be creative.
I'm gonna grow from it. I'm gonna become a better writer from it. I'm gonna learn from it. I'm gonna meet people because of it. Even just because like I have a mafia part of it, and I'm learning more about the mafia because of it. I bought a bunch of books about the mafia. I've been asking like my friends that have done like research.
Have you talked to Mike? You got to talk to Mike.
Yeah. Does he know stuff about mafia?
Oh my God, it's the only thing he knows. It's the only thing. He listens to it. It's like he'll be like, I cook, and then he'll do the dishes, but he just like puts on a long. It's like these guys that they were in the mafia ages ago, and now they just talk about it, and it's their podcast.
Yeah.
Like literally admitting to murders.
Yeah.
They're just like, we changed all the names, and I didn't actually do this, so I was strangling a guy.
So Big Tony comes over. I'm like, what are you listening to in there? It's good though, because he'll clean the kitchen because he likes listening to it.
Yeah, nice. But I think that's been the theme throughout my entire life is like, I want to be creative. I want to grow. I want to get better at stuff. I want to take risks. And I still take risks in the sense that I write new jokes and I do think I'm growing. But eventually that risk is becomes less of a risk. So what is
Yeah.
making a web series? You know, I did a podcast during the pandemic, and that was like scary, and I had to learn all these different skills, and like, so I think for me, it's like to my core, I'm a creative person. Every time I do something new, I'm starting from the beginning, but a little bit of knowledge from each thing I've ever tried.
Yeah.
Kind of both confidence-wise and belief in myself, it gets a little bit easier.
Oh my God.
Well, it's
yes.
becoming the norm too. I don't really feel like industry takes risks unless you've already established
Oh.
yourself.
Right.
Even-
Right.
but
It's really naive to be thinking that you're getting discovered out of 3 years in.
not even
Yeah.
that. Not even
Yeah.
that. My friend told me to listen to the We Regret to Inform You podcast.
Yeah.
You heard that? It's a rejection podcast.
Okay.
It was the guy that wrote Mad Men, which again was like an inspiration for doing a period piece. It was like the guy that wrote Mad Men. He is now the head writer of The Sopranos. So in trying to sell this thing, he ends up getting a job writing for The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Then he builds up, and now he's the head writer of The Sopranos in like season 8 or whatever. It's now the best show on television on HBO. He's like the biggest person in it, and he couldn't get a meeting with HBO. I was listening to it while I was walking home from a gig. I scared somebody. I was like, "Fuck, are you fucking serious?"
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
telling me the best person in the industry at the time can't get a meeting at the own network that they're. I was like, it was both infuriating and liberating in the sense that it never gets easier.
Yeah.
So stop waiting for somebody to
Yeah,
decide
yeah.
that you have value.
Yeah, because you end up creating obstacles in your own mind with your perception of the situation.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
It's like you're right. It
You-
never does.
Victim mindset, kind
Yes,
of. That
yes,
it's hard
and that's
to
what
build
I
up.
love. I have to cry to my boyfriend at night. I'm like, everyone hates me. Oh, but it's
But
so fun though. I relish it.
But if you keep believing it, like it's not even just victim mentality. It's this like savior, like you're waiting for some prince to pick you
Yeah.
up and take
It's
you
not
out of
happening.
out of
Yes.
like shitty open mics, and it's just like it happens once in a blue moon. We know the few people that have been plucked, but also if they don't work hard, I always like to say it's like easier to become Beyonce than stay Beyonce.
Yes.
So there are
Yeah.
people that are plucked, and then once it gets a little hard, they fall off. Like think of
Yeah.
all the people that did 1 year at SNL and then you've never heard of them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like there's people that parlayed that. Like I think Sarah Silverman was like a 1 year at SNL, and clearly she did some, but there's tons of people that they couldn't straddle that devastation of it not being
Yeah.
the big break they thought it would be, and they don't know how to pick themselves up.
And
But
they're still talking about it. They're still talking about how they did SNL for 1 year.
Yeah.
But I love it though, because it is almost like when you do a creative pursuit like this that has the potential for a huge gains. It's like you are buying a lottery ticket, right? But when you work in a way that you're suggesting, where you're goal oriented and you're smart about where you put your energy and what you're trying to
You're buying
accomplish.
a bunch of scratch offs.
Yes, yeah. You've got a bunch of small lottery tickets. Yeah, yes. Oh my gosh. Well, on that, I want to wrap up. You're so amazing. I want to talk to you for 2 more hours, but we'll have you on another time
Yes.
because
Yeah, thanks for having me,
because
guys.
this is our Patreon. We want to thank you guys. Thank you so much, and hopefully you watched this.
Yeah, and learned a lot and
Yeah.
start doing stuff.
Start doing stuff. Get out there. Send us your screenplay. Just kidding.
Don't.
We don't have the time.
I
we
will
don't
not
have the
read
time.
it.
We will not read it. But if you send us the byline, drop the byline in the comments.
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
give it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Lady Journey.
Lady Journey.
Oh my God, Liz.